Person one loves person two. Guess what? Shenanigans ensue. Person one hates person two. Guess what? Still shenanigans ensue. Person one fake dates person two. Guess what? You guessed it. Shenanigans ensue. Co-host one reports to co-host two. The name of the show? Shenanigans ensue. Yeah. Hello, I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Jane, and welcome to Shenanigans Ensue.
A podcast where I'm gonna be 40.
When?
Someday.
I mean, me too.
Yeah, and actually sooner than Meg Ryan in this film is, so...
I know. That was a trip that we will talk about later.
Or never.
Each episode, we'll watch a rom-com and discuss its merits as a member of the rom-com genre.
We'll cover well-worn classics, hidden gems, and everything in between.
We'll give you our unsolicited opinion on every trope, caper, and flim-flam the film used, or maybe abused.
And of course, the Shenanigans!
Shenanigans!
Wow, wow. This is a real treat, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like probably so many people out there. I know an extensive amount of When Harry Met Sally quotes and had never actually watched the entire movie from beginning to end.
Same.
And don't lie, many of you are probably the same.
It's so true. I feel like there are some movies that are just so ingrained in popular culture.
Right.
That you feel like you've watched the whole thing by osmosis, maybe even.
At this point, I'm never watching Fight Club. I already know the film. You know?
That's how I feel about Avatar, to be honest.
Truly.
I'm never going to watch that movie.
I mean, I did see that one, but you already know it.
I know that whole thing.
Yeah.
You know.
The blue people one, right?
Yeah.
Not the...
Yes.
Okay, great. Just making sure.
Yeah. The blue people. The intercoursing with hair people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not going to kink shame.
No, but it's very memorable.
That was so polite.
I tried. Anyway, point being, I had also not watched When Harry Met Sally from beginning to end.
Yeah.
What a treat.
I was so surprised.
Mm-hmm. I know you get the scaries when we go but old.
I do. I get the hot sweats. I'm like so certain it's gonna have aged poorly. I had high hopes because I know so many people who adore this film.
Mm-hmm.
It's also, like you said, ingrained in pop culture. I have to assume that it's a film of merit, if that's the case.
Yeah.
And it delivered.
It really does. Do we need a plot synopsis? I guess we do for the sake of structure.
Yeah.
But...
yeah. So we've got new graduates, Harry and Sally, the titular characters.
Mm-hmm.
They meet on a road trip of convenience as they're both moving from Chicago to New York.
They continue to run into each other over the years, and
Shenanigans
ensue.
ensue. They really do. Okay, just to really get this out of the way, why in the ever-living fuck did this woman let this man be in her car with her?
I think it was because it's the 80s. We didn't have, ride shares and stuff, I guess.
Could have taken a Greyhound after the very first little bit of stuff that comes out of his mouth and him being an absolute stranger.
Yeah, she should have kicked him out the car.
I would have pulled over. I would have been like, you can take you and your argumentative ass and walk.
That was rough.
Yeah.
He was a very unpleasant person to be around. Maybe she was trying a little bit more because he was dating her friend or something.
Yeah. I guess there's also the possibility that she was happy to have somebody take a driving shift.
That's true. And they probably shared the expense of gas.
Yeah. It's just overall, what a weird scenario to have a complete and utter stranger get into a car with you for a long drive. This is how you disappear people.
Hence the trip of convenience.
Yeah.
But no, when I speak to my dad, it feels so foreign and strange when they talk about how you would just go to a town and you'd know a friend who'd know a friend who'd have a family member and they're put you up for the night.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
It's just different times.
We do that perhaps now.
Not to the same degree.
I mean, an Airbnb is not technically better. I'm still trusting a stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different times.
A lot more rolling the dice, it seems.
Blind faith in people, maybe?
Ugh. No, I told myself I was gonna be less ironic.
It's so funny that this is where you like hanging your cap on because, I don't know, it was the 80s. They were probably like, Sally's going to New York too. Sally, here's my friend Harry.
I think what really bothered me is like, this is your supposed best friend
Yeah.
who's been dating this person for at least a few months, and you're in college, like you have plenty of time.
Yeah.
And they've never met? The whole thing seemed extremely odd to me and like so chaotic.
Maybe they hadn't been dating for many months. I don't know. Maybe it was just like a new flame because
That's true.
they also lost contact
Yeah.
completely.
So interesting.
Yeah.
I really did love the fact that they gave us these two completely relatable archetypes.
Yeah.
You've got the early 20s, fresh out of college edgelord, and you've got the early 20s, doe-eyed, naive optimist.
They did it really well, like
Yeah.
right at the start of the movie, that they would piss each other off so much right off the bat is so real.
I know.
Just because of how entrenched their personalities are.
I
like
know.
fresh out of college. And then to get to see those two archetypes grow up was also very interesting. Like
Yeah.
it felt quite accurate and real.
It is funny to see them a decade later with Harry's edges kind of softened and Sally's polished to a fine edge.
Yeah. Oh, life.
But see, this is the thing that I was trying to tell people about my major issue with the pathetic female character they made in You've Got Mail, because a native New Yorker doesn't behave like that. It took Meg Ryan's character Sally less than 10 years to become a fast-talking, orgasms in public restaurants kind of gal.
The fact that by the end of this movie, we are older than the characters is blowing my mind.
Oh, yeah. They're actually older, though, when they played these parts, right?
I actually don't know.
I assume they're older.
I'm gonna look it up. Okay, this is interesting. Billy Crystal was 41
What?
and Meg Ryan was 27 when they starred in these roles.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's an insane age difference, too.
Not uncommon, unfortunately.
Weird.
Anywho, should we hit those tropes?
Let's do it. We've got friends to lovers,
A classic.
a forced adventure, a ever-popular grumpy verse sunshine. We've got an excellent meet cute, re-meet cute, other people meet cute,
Just cuteness all around.
just cutes. We've got very good best friends.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of montages.
Yeah.
A slow
A very
burn.
slow burn.
This is a proper slow burn, not a movie magic slow burn, you know what I mean?
Very slow.
This happens over the course of a year and a half.
Yeah.
We've got a dramatic chase.
Yes.
Very good. We love a sprinting chase. A little bit cab, a little bit sprint.
Yes.
We've got, finally, an excellent New Year's kiss.
Oh, such good tropes. So
I
well
know.
executed.
So many of them are.
Yeah.
This is filled with tropes, and yet also so surprising in so many ways. Where would you like to start?
I don't actually know. I know where you want to start.
Well, surprisingly, the montages are not my favorite part about this movie.
That's fair. So where would you like to start since we're going off the beaten track?
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to start then with the best friends.
Oh, they're so good.
Because that is my favorite part of the film.
Delightful. Delightful. for.
And this is a film that utilizes the best friends. They don't show up for 5 minutes and you never see them again.
Yeah.
They're only there for exposition. No. They are a confidant. They are a sounding board. They are a partner. We love this.
Yeah, and they have their own things going on. They have their own lives and nuances, flaws. It's really great.
The part very early on in the film that made me realize that this was actually an incredible movie was when Harry and his best friend are at a football game.
So good.
It's so good. They are talking about how Harry and his 6 years of marriage are about to end. And maybe he did get married out of some sort of convenience, but over the years, his love has grown and he really does have affection for this woman. And now she's leaving him. He's devastated. She's already planned to move out of the house before she even had the courage to tell him.
Painful.
It is just a heart-wrenching story of emotions and loss. And then every few sentences, they're doing the wave.
It's so funny.
He drops a devastating line and they both stand up to do the wave and the crowd around them stands up too. And it's just...
I support it because the dedication to not break down the wave even though you are going through it.
Yeah.
I respect it.
The social contract of the wave is so strong that despite the heartbreak and devastation, he stands up. That was a directorial choice that was so excellent.
Yes, absolutely.
I was like, oh, this is actually magic. This is so good.
So funny.
Did you want to talk about the girlfriends?
Freaking Carrie Fisher, man.
What a surprise. How did I not know Carrie Fisher was in this?
This is how I know I haven't watched this movie from start to finish. Because in the opening credits, when her name came up, I was so excited.
Yeah.
And I was like, I hope she's the best friend because that would be amazing.
And she was.
She was.
And she plays her own cliche trope of the mistress waiting in perpetuity for the cheating husband to leave the wife.
Girl, no.
Spoiler alert, he never does. Weirdly, though, she's hopeful and yet also realistic, which is the best thing ever because that's also so true. She spends the entire time being like, and then he bought her a brand new dining set. Who buys someone $1,000 table if they're going to get a divorce? And she's like, they're never getting a divorce. And every time she says that, all the friends are like, yeah, we know, we told you. And she never argues.
Nope. She takes it.
Yep.
In one of the meetings when she sees that Harry is looking at Sally, trying to figure out if he knows her, she says someone in the personal section is looking at you. And Sally says to her, oh, that's Harry. You'll like him. He's married. Just the shade.
That was such a dig.
And she just takes it.
I mean, honestly, I really hope my friends would real talk me all the time with that.
Yeah.
You're the mistress. You have to laugh.
You'd have to be a good sport about it. Yes, you're doing something morally reprehensible.
But Carrie Fisher is so charming about it.
She is.
I really did enjoy the two best friends. And speaking of them, they get their own meet cute if that's where you want to go next.
It's so cute. I actually want to talk about the re-meet cutes because I thought it was done so well. After Harry and Sally part ways, they say, well, have a good life and see you never, basically. And then we jump several years later when it's a very funny reference because when Harry and Sally meet, Harry's making out with Sally's friend, and now in the re-meet cute, Sally is making out with her boyfriend.
Which is Harry's friend.
Oh, yes. Harry walks past and he's like sort of staring at them. And then the acting here is so good.
Oh, God, it was so good.
Where it's like this vague recognition. It was done so well.
It's not too overt. You see them both kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
You see her figure it out first.
It's so good.
And it's so uncomfortable.
Because then later on the plane, he asks, like, did they sleep together? Did they hook up in college?
Right.
Really funny.
Because he recognizes her, he can't place her, but she knows everything.
Exactly. And it's also funny because Sally can't remember the name of her previous best friend that Harry was dating. But on the plane, when Harry can't remember his ex's name, she gives him shit for it, which was really funny to me. That she's holding like the moral high ground or whatever when like half an hour before she didn't know this girl's name either.
That was really, really fun.
Yeah.
And then literally right after this airplane scene, which is hilarious too because he's in the seat right behind her, and what sparks his memory is her being a shitty person who orders the most obnoxious things. And he banters so hard that the person sitting next to her offers to get up, and simultaneously they say yes and no, and he helps himself to the seat next to her. Excellent stuff. And right after that is another literally perfect scene. It's a single shot of them doing the whole scene on the airport moving walkway.
Yeah, that was also really good. And when Harry can see he's bothering her, he's like, okay, I'll stop. And then he stops walking and he gets like left behind. It was really visually funny to watch.
Yeah, they both are like, okay, enough talking. And then they both start walking. So they're still walking together, which is literally an embarrassment fate worse than death, in my opinion. When you say goodbye and then go the same direction, I can't.
I just snort laughed now. I wasn't expecting to laugh at that one.
But isn't that just the worst thing ever? Just like mortifying. You're like, I already said bye. Do we keep talking or do I ignore you? We're walking the same direction.
It depends on the person. If it's someone that I really like, then it's just like, oh, haha, look at us.
That's true. I think I'm just too awkward. I'm always like, and now I won't make eye contact.
So you do that even if it was me?
Probably not you, but I feel like there's only 10 people I wouldn't do that with.
Okay, fair enough. If it's someone that I haven't seen in like 6 years and didn't like very much to begin with, then yes, that is terrible.
If it's someone I don't like at all, I am stopping and pretending to look at directions in my phone.
You're tying a shoelace on shoes that don't have laces.
Yeah, build a buffer. I need to create space, so that's my move.
I'd pretend that I'd forgotten something, I think. Like have a startled realization. I'm like,
Ooh, that's a good one.
Walk away very deliberately, fast pace.
Oh, my umbrella.
Don't follow me.
Honestly, yeah, I want more airplane walkway scenes. They did it in this one, and they did it in Your Place or Mine.
Very good.
I love the airplane walkway scene.
Because there's so much potential for comedic stuff.
Yeah, so funny. By the way, all that stuff we talked about at the airport happens, and they are done with all of that exposition by minute 20.
Yeah.
Wild.
It's tight.
Excellent.
Is there another trope you want to hit?
Oh, I do think it would be fun to do like a quick overview of some of the bullet points from the forced adventure, especially the parts that come back later.
Yes, that's true. Because there are a lot of callbacks in this movie.
Yeah, we've got the forced adventure, which like we said earlier, starts off with a random stranger sharing the driving burden of a road trip from Chicago to New York City. He became a consultant or something, and she wanted to be a writer.
Yeah.
Did we ever see their jobs in real life?
No.
This is one of those movies where, ooh, they magically have jobs, but we never see them.
We never see it. I think we see her on a computer once.
Yeah.
But, like, no office.
Oh, no. It's such an old film that when the ladies go to take out their little black book, it's a Rolodex. But we've got them talking about what they want to do when they grow up and how she's moving to New York, become a reporter. And at the very, very beginning, they have a bit of a back and forth about what happened to you. Why do you want to go to New York? Everyone wants to go to New York. Something happened to you. And then she's like, I'm going to go to New York to become a reporter. And he's like, oh, so you want to become a reporter so you can write about things happening to other people. Like, he's so combative.
Obnoxious.
Yes. And that's his obnoxious trait. And then they get to the diner, and her order has to be one of the most ridiculous things anyone has ever...
Her orders are wild.
They don't make any sense.
Just throughout the entire movie, her orders are wild.
In a way, as a person who's worked in restaurants for so long, I get that you would want to get ahead of all of the possibilities that could occur with the ice cream versus the whipped cream versus what's in house, blah-de-blah.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the forethought so that I don't have to make a bunch of trips back and forth to the kitchen. But, like, maybe just don't be difficult,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Just take your pie without anything on it.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna be.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like, I get it that maybe she's just being very specific to avoid disappointment, or she's kind of trying to be helpful.
Yeah.
Because her character isn't someone that's difficult, so maybe that's why.
I really think she's doing it to try to be as thorough as possible.
Yeah, but it just makes it harder for the server to remember, ultimately.
Too many steps.
It's just so much information you're giving someone. But it is a very fun running gag throughout the movie.
Yeah, and then I think the one other really important aspect, if we didn't mention anything else, would be the pop culture origin of the very famous saying
Mm-hmm.
that a man can't be friends with a woman he finds attractive because sex gets in the way, which is so obnoxious,
Yes.
which people have continued to quote forever.
Like it's been scientifically proven.
And some people say that it is scientifically proven. They have different studies that are for and against it. It's like this bizarre quote that doesn't do anyone any favors and lives in infamy. And it's from this one, y'all.
Woof.
But the fun thing about them talking about relationships in the diner is that she accidentally says that she had sex with her boyfriend way too loud when they walk in. The entire diner gets quiet. She's extremely embarrassed. She goes and sits herself down. And then later on in the film, we get the iconic...
The famous scene.
Yup, she's eating her deli sandwich. They start talking about sex and whether or not women fake it. And then she does a full-on orgasm in the diner.
Yeah.
And then that other woman says, I'll have what she's having.
Yep. Classic.
And that callback was so great because I feel like you see what
Yeah.
6 years of New York City does.
Because Sally from 6 years ago, no way she would have done that.
Absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
Sally from 6 years ago had underwear with the different days of the week on them.
Except Sunday.
And broke up with her boyfriend because there's no Sunday.
What a weird detail. The underwear manufacturing company didn't make a Sunday underwear because of God.
And that was just a guess, which is honestly even funnier.
Yeah.
They don't know. And there's no Google. They couldn't look it up.
Was it an oversight?
I have no idea.
I need to know now about
We'll
this
never
made-up
know.
company and this one throwaway bit.
It's interpretation. But yeah, I think of like all the things that I could be really irritated with. The only actual reasonable one that I don't really love is the men can't be friends with women quote and then proved the quote right at the end of the film.
Yeah.
Like, I don't appreciate the reinforcement of that bullshit.
No, the introduction and reinforcement of it.
Boo!
Mm.
But them ending up together was great.
I would like to talk about the slow burn.
Hell
'cause
yeah.
It was done in a way that you truly feel you watching this relationship unfold from forced companions to reluctant acquaintances to an actual beautiful genuine friendship and then to lovers over the course of an entire decade, but then the friendship specifically over a year and a half.
Yeah.
How they slowly become so important to each other and so integral to each other's lives that they literally cannot function without the other. Despite them being so different, we see how much they actually have in common as well and how good they are for each other. And this is happening so slowly.
It is so cute.
It's very cute.
I may have messed up earlier, but if I remember correctly, they do the road trip. They run into each other 4 years later. She's dating that guy and he's about to get married. And then they run into each other in that bookstore 6 years later, right?
Yeah.
It's, another truth of the universe, which is that timing is kind of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they were never in the right place before, but they're both coming out of horrific breakups.
Yeah.
And so the companionship of someone else who's kind of a little heartbroken is what drives them together.
They really help each other through each other's breakup. And there's something very unique and special about going through the same thing at the same time.
Trauma bonding, baby.
Yep, it's real, and having someone else to depend on. They watched Casablanca together,
That was
but on
hilarious.
the phone, and it was really funny and sweet.
That was another one where he remembers something she said about which person she would rather get with in the Casablanca universe from way back when.
I'd forgotten about that.
And she's like, I would never want to be with that one. And she's changed as a person. All these little pieces of their lives coming together.
yeah, it's really satisfying to watch.
Yeah. So unbearable, the two of them together
Mhm.
early on, but
Mhm.
somehow their personalities shift just enough with growth
Yeah.
that they're actually so well suited now.
Is there anything else in tropes, or are you ready to move on to those shenanigans?
We've covered a lot of the tropes just in the conversations. The montages are fun. It's mostly just relationship-wise, their growth.
Yeah.
And the only other thing is I did love the circling back of the New Year's kiss, that the New Year's dance is the first time you see them both realize they have feelings towards one another. And then the New Year's of the next year is where they finally solidify the relationship.
Very sweet.
And while they're at the New Year's party dancing together, the music is literally the song Lovers from Friends.
I missed that.
That was too much.
No way. Oh, I love it when music does the most.
And it did. They're so hot and bothered, they have to go to the balcony to, quote, get some air. Get out of here.
And to avoid kissing each other at midnight.
They do anyway. But it's a very chaste kiss.
You being overly generous. And there was also a little Christmas montage where you see the fracture in the relationship.
Oh, yeah.
So the previous year, they're shopping together for a Christmas tree. And
he's carrying the tree and blah-de-blah.
yeah, they're doing it together. Very cute. And then when they have their falling out.
She drops the tree.
Yes.
No one's there.
There's no one there to help her. Very on the nose.
Yeah.
Very delicious.
So good. Okay, if we both had to pick a single shenanigan to start with,
Oof.
I think we would want to start with the same shenanigan.
Yes, we do.
Which
we absolutely
is
do.
the
Yes.
four-way phone call.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good.
That's absolutely where I wanted to start.
Sometimes I'm like, I'm going to set it up and then we're both going to say different things and I'll be embarrassed. But no.
This time you were very, 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 very confident.
This was, again, another one of the most excellently filmed scenes
Oh my goodness.
in movie history.
Chekhov's double telephones, if there ever was. Why are we opening with the two best friends sitting in their bed, each with a telephone on their nightstand,
So funny.
if we are not going to get a four-way phone call?
It's so
Like,
good.
why else would they be there?
I know. The second that the scene opened on the two of them in bed in the morning and I saw a separate phone on each nightstand, I
Mhm.
was,
giddy.
yep, you know what's about to happen. And truly, this is an absolute marvel. Having simultaneous scenes happening at one time is hard enough on a stage where
Mhm.
you've rehearsed
Yeah.
and you're doing it together so you can hear all of the lines happening. That seems impossibly hard when there are 3 different sets that you are overlaying.
Yeah. Especially in the 80s.
That's what I'm
The
saying.
camera work of that as well.
How?
The acting, the directing, everything to achieve that scene.
How were they getting the timing right?
It's so well done.
It was so fun.
What's happened is Harry and Sally have just slept together, kind of by accident, and they are each calling their best friend to talk about it.
Which they've accidentally set up together in a
Yes.
blind date gone wrong.
So good, which is where we definitely going to go next. So the couple both invites Harry and Sally to breakfast, glance at each other like, oh shit, what have we done? And then both Harry and Sally say, no, they can't come over. And they just sigh in relief.
That was honestly so funny. So many different
funny.
things happening. The
Mhm.
realization that they're on the phone with the other person and that both of them have slept together and they both make eye contact like, yes, they finally did it. The realization for Sally and Harry that they're each on the phone with the other person and they're talking about each other right now.
Ooh. Oh boy.
It was so good and wildly well filmed.
Excellent. I do love a farce, and that was very farcical.
Yes, yes, yes. Honestly, so much of the writing is top tier.
Mm-hmm.
Top tier writing, top tier acting. Billy Crystal being able to deliver a monologue just like a slightly crotchety man talking about things that annoy him in the world over and over again.
This movie was really monologue heavy, and the only reason I noticed it was not because it was boring, but because I was just kind of mesmerized by how well it was done.
Yeah, it was so interesting. A silly example is that he just goes off on a tangent about how they've broken up with their significant others, and it's so nice that they both got to keep the apartments because apartment hunting is the worst. His only way of finding apartments is he looks through the obituaries and then pays off the doormen. And then he talks about how he thinks the best thing to do is to create a real estate obituary pipeline. And all of them are like this. They're just psychotic ramblings, but they all also make sense. So funny.
As promised, the double date setup, which ends up with the best friends forming a romantic attachment.
It's so good.
So funny. Because obviously as an audience, you know where this is going.
Yeah.
Because obviously Harry and Sally end up together. But to see how we get there is so much fun.
And it's like the silliest thing ever.
I know.
It's just that Marie quotes an article to Jess, and it turns out it's his own article.
Yes.
And he's so charmed,
Yes.
and she's so impressed that he's the writer that they just hit it off, and like that's it. They move in together so quickly, they're married. It's a done deal in like 6 months.
Yeah. And the guys and the girls separately are having a discussion where Marie is like, are you going to go after Jess? Because I'm interested.
Oh yeah, after the dinner.
Yeah. And Jess is talking to Harry and saying like, are you going to go for Marie?
After the dinner, the genders separate, and both of them simultaneously give a, you have to let my friend down easy, they're going through a tough time, and they agree independently, and then throw it out the window and get in a cab together. It's so chaotic.
Because Jess is like, I think I'm tired of walking. I'm going to get a cab. And Marie's like, I'll go with you.
Done.
And the two of them run off together.
Yep.
Bye.
That was so funny.
And how Marie separates Sally from the guys is also very funny because they walk by a storefront and she's like, oh, I've always wanted a pair of red suede shoes. And the guy's like, oh, women. And just keep walking.
I miss that pretense. That's so funny.
It cracked me up.
Amazing.
Sticking with the best friends and their partnership at their wedding, which, as Jazz has said, happens so quickly, Harry and Sally are in the middle of this fight, but the married couple toast Harry and Sally and basically thank and diss their friends simultaneously.
Yeah.
Like, thank you so much. If either one of us had found either one of you attractive, we wouldn't be starting it today. Damn.
So shady and amazing. It was so good and very accurate.
Very accurate, because watching them at the start of that double date was painful.
Pulling teeth.
Mm-hmm.
There was no common ground. They were just not
No.
interested in talking about the same things.
This ended up not the way Harry and Sally wanted it to end up.
It's not about what they want. This was what I wanted.
Yes, but just has the potential to be very, very messy if it doesn't work out.
But honestly, it's their own damn fault because the only reason why they decided to do this blind double date is because they both simultaneously realized they were attracted to the other person and wanted to get them off of the market.
Panicked.
This was a panic double date.
But what if it had worked out? Now the person you very attracted to and are friends with would be dating your best friend.
Yeah.
So you'd constantly be around that.
That's why they got what they deserved. You set yourself up for failure no matter what. It was a lose-lose situation. So something I do want to go over that's maybe more in the serious negative column. Fully fuck
Joe is written in my notes.
You texted it to me as well in all caps.
Okay, good, because I wrote it all caps again in my notebook. That's how fully he should get fucked. I cannot believe the absolute audacity. It is one thing to tell somebody you never want to get married. And listen, she agreed to that at the beginning, and she changed her mind.
Yeah.
And relationships end like that all the time. And truthfully, she handled it like a champ. This was a mutual breakup. You now want different things, and you have to move on.
Yeah.
Very mature. But the absolute devastation to find out that that's not true. He just needed to find a 20-year-old secretary.
It's rough.
Who convinces him to get married right away. Like, what makes me crazy about it is, like, the way that it's written. He called her to rub her face in it.
It's so not necessary.
There was a part of me that wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, where I want you to hear it from me and trying to get ahead of it type of thing.
Yeah, spare your feelings.
But there was some sort of quote that he's doing it to, I don't know, win? Like, we never meet him. But imaginary Joe, or people who are Joes out there, a hearty and sincere F you. Oh, no.
And it's very unlikely she would have found out otherwise, right?
Yeah.
We don't have social media. Maybe in the paper, if these people are well known enough to put it in announcements or something like that. But I don't think they move in the same circles, right?
Not really. You would have to be keeping tabs on him on purpose.
And
she wasn't. She was doing well.
Very well.
That absolute spiral and subsequently sleeping with your best friend you didn't mean to sleep with makes perfect sense under those circumstances.
Like, that wasn't thought through at all.
Nope.
And then they proceeded to have the most awkward dinner ever.
Yeah.
And then what was so funny in like a very cringe way was him saying into the dead silence.
Yeah.
I just love it when there's some people you can just sit in silence with. I love it too, Harry, but not that silence.
No, that silence is not the same silence, bud.
That's not the silence we're talking about. The way I would have been babbling on uncontrollably.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to note that he also was somewhat in a fragile state. I don't think all that far before that is when he had his own run-in with his own ex.
Which, as the shenanigan, is so good.
It is so funny with the karaoke machine. They're at, like, what, a sharper image?
Yes.
It's so funny.
They're buying a housewarming present for Jess and Marie. And they're like, look at this newfangled device, the karaoke machine. And they are singing a song from Oklahoma? Is that what they're singing?
Yep, it's a song from Oklahoma.
Both of them are being so charming. And then in walks Helen with her new beau.
The one she moved in with while she was still married.
And didn't even tell him about.
He's mortified. I'm mortified. It's uncomfortable. Why would you even go up to say hi?
I know.
And you caught him out singing an embarrassing show tune.
In situations like this, I feel as though it's perfectly acceptable to just give a polite nod of acknowledgement if you are making eye contact and carrying on with your lives. We don't need to be doing chit-chat.
Agreed.
We can just cut that out of our lives.
I love the head nod of acknowledgement. If you're dead to me, I don't want to talk to you. Just give me a
That's all.
So uncomfortable. Before we move on, unless you have anything else, I do think it would be fun to hit the dramatic chase shenanigans.
Yes. The thing with the dramatic chase is 99% of the time it's so unnecessary.
It is. And the build up to it is so great because they've taken said karaoke machine from before that he went back and bought. And he is leaving messages because she's not answering the phone for him anymore. And he's leaving singing messages on her answering machine. And eventually one of them is charming enough with his karaoke song choice or whatever song he's made up for her that she actually answers. And she agrees to, like, you know, maybe talk at a later date. He wants to go to the New Year's party with her, but she
Yeah.
declines.
Because we said in a year, if we're still single or we don't have a date for New Year's Eve, then we'll go together.
But they didn't have a contract with a caveat for having slept together.
And it wasn't on paper, like in All the Boys I Loved Before.
Correct. So,
Even though a verbal contract is binding in the state of New York.
is it really?
I don't know, I saw it in a movie. I don't know if that's true or not.
That's amazing. I'll look it up later. Anyway, so he decides to have New Year's Eve entirely by himself at home. He's watching the ball drop on the television.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? He just gets stir crazy and decides to leave the house maybe 30 minutes before midnight?
Not quite sure about that one.
Yeah, he's just kind of walking around.
Mm.
It's so interesting that you would just walk around the streets. We're way too close to midnight for this. Also, in what world is Washington Square Park empty that close to midnight?
I don't know.
And then he has the memory of exiting her car during that long ago road trip right there under the arch at Washington Square Park.
And then we have a full-on flashback, unnecessary montage.
Wait, was it just a regular flashback montage or was it soft focus?
It wasn't. I was looking out for the soft
Oh,
focus.
damn it.
It was just a unnecessary flashback montage.
Oh, man. Unnecessary flashback montage at full volume.
Yes.
My gosh. And it's just so good.
It was so funny. This movie is an hour and a half. We remember, but it's also his motivator.
Why do they think we always forgot?
I don't know why they think we forgot.
I can't. That makes me so happy. I don't even care. That's so funny. He's filled with these memories and he starts sprinting down the street looking for a cab to get to the party that he knows she's at. Smash cut. Sally is at the party having a miserable time. She's dancing and being dipped by an absolute stud and she's not having any fun. She's talking to someone who's incredibly interesting and she's not interested. She's turning to her friend Marie and she's saying, Marie, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna get a cab. And Marie says,
It's 10 minutes till midnight. Stay. Just stay to midnight.
I just like the one where she says, you'll never get a taxi. Like it was a threat. I'd like to see you try was the implication. And so she sticks around. And right as she gives up and the countdown's about to happen, she's walking down the stairs to leave. In bursts Harry in street clothes
Yes.
at this fancy party.
Noticeably underdressed.
He has a big romantic speech prepared, and it's not romantic, it's
No.
just to the
Matter of
point.
fact. And she's like, well, what do you want me to say? And he's like, what about I love you? Like, that would be nice.
And then, much like at the end of You've Got Mail, through tears and smiling and half sarcastic, she delivers, I hate you, Harry. I really hate you.
And then he takes her into his arms, and then they kiss at midnight.
Ooh. And the way Billy Crystal delivers his confession of love speech is so matter of fact. It is a perfect example of what I like to call the nice New Yorker. When New Yorkers are trying to be nice, their kindness doesn't manifest as gentleness or soft compassion. A New Yorker's kindness manifests as angry bluntness.
This is so true.
He delivers the speech like, I love you. He's so angry. He's furious with himself for having these pathetic feelings of love.
I've been helped by so many New Yorkers in a way that when you are first exposed to it, it feels like you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
In being in a position where you need help and you have to like look back or just have a lot of experience with it and realize, no, they were showing you so much love and kindness.
Yeah.
But the tone is broken.
The nice New Yorker is helping you by being so direct and earnest. They're helping you in the clearest path that they can find.
And this is especially evident in when New Yorkers give you directions.
Walk with me, talk with me.
Exactly. It's the most to the point, concise interaction. And they will get you there.
Yeah.
You will not get lost.
Uh-uh.
There is no room for error.
You're going to get efficient information.
And you best believe your request must also be to the point. No, hi, I'm sorry, I'm lost. Can you please?
I'd love to help you. Just say it faster. And whenever I tell New Yorkers this, they always start cackling because they know that that's true. Like, it's this thing that they realize about themselves. It's truly the weirdest phenomenon that I absolutely love.
It's very quintessential.
And then, what we so rudely forgot to mention is that then they cut to the now happy couple giving a interview documentary style,
So
which they had done
cute.
previously throughout the course of the movie with other older couples.
And because of how real these stories felt, I wanted to know if it's real people they interviewed or if it's actors. And it's a blend, which I love. They interviewed real people, they collected stories, and then they hired actors to perform these stories. It's very cute.
It's so fun. At first, I was really confused because
Yeah.
it opened with a really awkward one, which was very funny. And I felt like the stories got more and more heartfelt as the movie went on. Is that just me?
No, it's not. I think it was kind of intentional
Okay.
to link the stories a little bit in some way, at least thematically, to where the two are in their relationship.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. And then we
Yeah.
ended up with the two of them finishing their own movie
Yeah.
documentary style of the story of their love.
Very cute.
Love, 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 love. Amazing. Well, that brings us to a
Fun
fab
fail.
fail. I have to give this one a fab for me.
For me, it's a really, really strong fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's delightful. It's so charming.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really well made.
Yeah.
Like, it's just beautifully filmed. You get the feel for New York. I really like the slow burn. I love the best friends.
Love.
I think the acting is really good. I think it's really well written.
So smart.
It's so well written.
Mm-hmm.
And then so well executed. The attention to detail.
Yeah.
This movie just feels very intentional. It's a very comforting movie.
Yeah.
And it's a classic that holds up. It's really good.
Yeah.
Especially because it's so familiar in terms of pop culture.
For me, I have to give this a fab because I basically can't find anything I didn't like about it. Maybe there could have been a way to get the pacing a little more bouncy.
Yeah.
Maybe, but it's still a tight film. And also, I think that the comedy is so well written. Like you said, well executed. Everyone nailed all of their characters. I went into this knowing that this is a rom-com and always wondering to myself, like, really, Billy Crystal? And then I got to the end of this film and I was like, I get it now. That was palpable
Yeah.
by the end.
Yeah.
He was such an ass. I couldn't imagine finding him attractive by the end, but he's actually so darn charming.
The characters really grow throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And they grow on you.
I cackled throughout, and the only questionable thing was an off-color Ethiopians don't have enough food joke. But otherwise, the film aged really well.
Yeah. And we're talking close to 40 years ago.
Yeah. To have that many jokes age that well, impressive.
Yep.
Really fun. I would watch it again tomorrow.
Oh, it's a good movie. That leaves us our favorite segment.
Yay!
Give me the cheese, please. Give me the cheese.
Amazing.
Gimme.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2,
2,
1.
Plain de
Aged
feed Parmesan.
Parmesan.
Yes! No way!
This is as close as we've gotten.
That's amazing! The way my heart stopped when I heard Parmesan also coming out of your mouth. Well, there you have it.
Oh, let's just skip to the end. We're done. Bye.
Yeah, we're done. No, I'm joking.
Go out with a bang. Show's over. Bye.
You get it. We get it. We don't need to explain it.
Okay, so I went with a nice old aged Parmesan.
Yes.
Yeah, it had to be aged. This movie is aged, and it's aged well, so it couldn't be a cheese that aged poorly.
Exactly.
Thank you. I personally like a Pecorino Romano more than a Parmesan, but it is a good old aged Parm. The best aged Parm has those little crunchy crystals.
Like Billy Crystal? Sorry, it was right there.
No, I'm laughing so hard because I'm mad at myself for not
no.
making that connection.
I got you.
Perfect. Yes, we've got our aged Billy Crystals in these. Every bite is so good, just like his salty commentary on life and its many challenges. And honestly, I just really liked it. It's straight to the point. It's everything that you expect, yet so beautifully executed, and manages to surprise you with how good it is. It's like you forget.
Yeah.
And then you take a bite of a nice 24-month age Parm, and it's just so delightful.
Yeah.
And for all of those reasons, this film for me is an aged Parm.
Yay. I went with Kleine Rivier Parmesan. Kleine Rivier is like a cheese stead in a small town about an hour and a half from where I live.
Ooh.
They make small batches of all the cheeses, and it's delicious. And so, much like this movie, a Parmesan is a cheese that we all are very familiar with, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a staple that goes on very many dishes, but you forget, or you can forget, how good a high quality Parm is. Because it is amazing. Especially if you're going for a high quality one and not just a generic one. There are places that Parmesan doesn't belong, and so maybe some of the ideas in this movie don't belong in our current 21st century society. But ultimately, such a good cheese that holds up when you look at it more closely.
Amazing.
Much like this movie.
Well, there you have it. That was our discussion of When Harry Met Sally.
Let us know your thoughts on the movie. Any shenanigans we may have missed, or what cheese you think it is.
You can follow us on Instagram at shenanigansensuepod, or you can email us at shenanigansensuepod@gmail.com.
Also, we have a listener's choice episode coming up, so please submit your suggestions.
Yes, please. We look forward to hearing what you want us to watch soon.
Yeah. We hope you'll join us next time, and until then, I've been doing a lot of thinking, and the thing is, I love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Delivered like the nice New Yorker he is.
Because it's not. But the thing is, I love you.
No, he's angry at his own feelings.
How dare they?
I did some thinking.
I got a montage.
Oh, damn it. I love you.
Ew.
Shit.
Feeling. I really need more of this in a guide to